Today we're diving into the epic story of Anu, the supreme sky god of ancient Babylon. We'll explore his rise to power, his cosmic family drama, and how he shaped the heavens and earth. Get ready for a celestial journey. Way back when the world was pretty much just a big mix of water, some rivers, and fog all rolled into one. Picture this scene. There were these three top-notch gods calling the shots. First up, we had the Mother Goddess Tiamat, who was basically the boss. Then there was the Father God Apsu, her main man, and don't forget Mummu, Apsu's go-to guy for advice. Time went on, and Tiamat and Apsu had a couple of sons, Lahmu and Lahamu. These two grew up, fell in love, and had kids of their own, named Anshar and Kishar. These kids were super important because they ended up representing the line where the sky meets the earth. Then, Anshar and Kishar had Anu, and let me tell you, this guy was next level. He became the king of all gods, which meant he was in charge of everything on Earth and up in space too. After a while, Anu teamed up with Ki, who was totally in tune with earthy stuff. The moment they got together was pretty epic. A huge mountain shot up from the sea, reaching all the way to the sky, and that's how Anu and Ki got connected. They turned into the ultimate power duo. Their story is all about how these big deal gods were running the show, making sure everything in the world and the sky was balanced just right. Anu, with his control over the universe, and Ki, with her deep connection to the earth, showed how working together could keep things in harmony. Their getting together, thanks to that giant mountain, wasn't just about them. It symbolized how the forces of nature and the divine could come together to keep the world in order. Together, Anu and Ki were more than just a couple. They were like the foundation for how everything in the cosmos worked together. Now, flipping the script to another version of the story, it all starts with Namu, who was basically the queen bee of existence. As time went by, Namu had two kids, Anu and Ki, who were the god of the sky and the goddess of the earth, respectively. They were pretty much considered a two-in-one deal. For eons, these gods were inseparable, like no force in the cosmos could pull them apart. Namu had introduced them to the world as a duo right from the get-go. So, heaven and earth were like two peas in a pod, perfectly complementing each other. Eventually, their love brought Enlil, the wind god, into the picture. Anu and Ki were over the moon with their new baby, but the moment Enlil arrived, he somehow managed to split his parents up for good. So, you see, whether it's the tale of gods creating boundaries of heaven and earth, or the story of a divine couple split by their own kid, these myths are all about the big personalities and the drama they bring. It's like the ultimate family saga, but with powers that control the universe. So here's the scoop. Enlil, this big-shot wind god, decides to move his dad, Anu, way up high, and then he moves his mom, Ki, way down low. Imagine putting one on a super tall ladder and the other in a deep hole. They couldn't even high-five if they wanted to. That's how heaven and earth got their own separate addresses. Right after Enlil comes into the picture, Anu, who's basically the godfather of the skies, starts hanging out with Ninhursag, another goddess. They hit it off and along comes Enki, Anu's second kid, who's super smart. Enki and Enlil, although half-brothers, become tight, and along with their dad, form this powerhouse trio of deity bros. Anu, sitting on his celestial throne, basically says, "We're the top dogs around here," declaring their fam the ultimate rulers of everything. But here's a twist. Even though Anu and Ki took a break, they rekindle their old flame and end up having more kids. We're talking Gibel, who's all about that fire life, Nusku, who's like the flashlight god, Martu, who's got a thing for the Amorites, and the Sabiti, these hardcore warrior gods. Now get this, Anu and Ki also had these 7 sons, right? These guys turned into the Mesopotamian version of a special ops team, known as the 7 Warriors. Anu, being the dad, decides they're going to be super fierce, basically born to battle. After they're born, he hands them over to Era, the war god, saying, "Here, take my boys. They're like divine bazookas for your war stuff." Era's all grateful, taking these kids under his wing, seeing them as both weapons and gods in their own right. As time rolled on, Anu's realm kept expanding big time. The old-school gods were getting antsy, wanting more respect, a bit of peace, and to be recognized for the VIPs they were. Keeping the world running was becoming a real chore, and these gods were over it, totally fed up with doing the heavy lifting themselves. They were done with the DIY lifestyle, digging around and building stuff from scratch. So they hit up Anu, the big boss of all gods, asking for a solid plan to make their divine lives a bit easier. Anu, with his partner in crime, Ki, put their heads together and cooked up a plan. They decided to create some newbies, a crew less flashy than the main Sumerian god squad, folks who could handle the grunt work and keep the wheels of creation turning. Enter the Igigi, the B-team gods. Anu's decision to bring in the Igigi as divine interns got the thumbs up from the rest of the godly gang. They were all about having these newbies take care of business so the top-tier gods could kick back, relax, and only snap their fingers when they needed something done. So, the Igigi got the job as the gods' personal assistants, tasked with keeping Earth in tip-top shape for eternity. Initially, these lesser gods were pretty stoked about their gig, diving into the work with gusto, all in for Team Anu and keeping their slice of the cosmos ticking over. Meanwhile, Anu wasn't just busy managing divine HR, he was also living it up, having a string of side romances. Notably, he got together with Ereshkigal, the underworld's leading lady, and they had Men and Sinner. Later on, Anu and Namu brought Ninjakuga into the mix. This whole setup was Anu's way of making sure the gods got to live the good life without breaking a sweat, while the Igigi did all the heavy lifting. It was a win-win for the gods, at least for a while, as they got to chill out and watch their divine to-do list get handled by their new underlings. Anu had this epic project, a dazzling temple called Eanna, which was basically a divine pad meant just for him. But as time went by and the godly family tree branched out with new gods popping up, Inanna, the goddess of love and beauty, decided she wanted a piece of that prime real estate. She was on the lookout for a spot that screamed VIP, something top shelf and mighty, to call her own. So she made her move and snagged Eanna for herself. Anu, instead of throwing a fit, was actually pretty chill about the whole thing. He saw how much Inanna was crushing on Eanna and let her have her way. Far from getting mad, Anu was kind of touched by the whole thing. Then there's this famous tale about Anu that's been kicking around. It goes like this. After humans were first created, they were pretty much clueless and missing out on all the cool stuff the gods had up in heaven. Anu, watching from his celestial lounge, was pretty impressed by what humans could do, despite them not having much. He figured he'd throw them a bone, a kind of divine care package that would boost their living standards on Earth big time. So he gives the order to round up all sorts of goodies. Wheat, hemp, barley, you name it, plus the seeds and mahogany from these sacred plants. This wasn't just random stuff, these were the gods' go-to snacks and materials. Imagine Anu as the kind of god who's got his hands in everything, from real estate drama with temples to being humanity's ancient benefactor. When Inanna took over his temple, he wasn't about to start a divine squabble. Instead, he saw it as a compliment, a sign that his temple was indeed a catch. And when it came to helping out humans, he didn't hold back. He went all out, making sure humans got a taste of the divine lifestyle, at least in terms of agriculture and materials. It's like Anu was playing the long game, setting up humans for success and making sure the gods stayed relevant in the mortal world by sharing a bit of their heavenly perks. So Anu's got this grand plan to hook up humans with a bunch of plants, right? He's thinking it's about time people on Earth got to taste and use what the gods are into. Anu's all set up, having his crew get ready to drop these divine eats right down to where people can get their hands on them. He's picturing humans getting a kick out of all these heavenly snacks and crops. But just as this delivery is about to go down, Enlil's eldest kid throws a wrench in the works. The moment Anu heads back to the skies, Enlil, who's not exactly a fan club president for humans, decides he's not on board with this plan. He's thinking, no way should humans get to munch on our godly grub. So he grabs all those plants Anu gathered and hides them way out in the boonies, in some massive mountain cave, locking them up tight behind a big old door. He's betting humans won't ever find them there. Enlil picks the biggest, most out-of-the-way mountain for his hide-and-seek with the divine delivery. He stashes the wheat, barley, and hemp in this giant cave and slams the door shut. His thinking? No human's ever going to stumble upon this stash. But not long after, the rest of the godly crew starts thinking Enlil's been a bit too harsh on the humans. They're all, hey, these heavenly eats could really do wonders for the people down there, talking up all these healing vibes and how it could beef up human health and happiness. Now Nergal, the boss of the underworld, was joining forces with Ninhursag, another big name in the world of gods. They decide it's time to flip the script on Enlil's plant heist. They make their way to this secret mountain vault, bust the door wide open, and grab all the goods. They head back down to Earth, dropping off Anu's original care package right where it was meant to go, in the hands of the humans. People are blown away by this, super thankful for the hookup. They promise to keep this godly gift going strong on Earth, never forgetting the flavors and benefits handed down from the heavens. And that wraps up our journey through the cosmos with Anu, the sky god of Babylon. If you loved exploring ancient myths and celestial tales with us, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. Which godly story should we explore next? See you in the stars.